Hi, welcome to part 3 of the Snowman and the Tree. So we are to the point now where we need to finish up our snowman, add some ornaments to the tree, and the final star. So we added a shadow earlier, and I'm looking at mine. You might want to look at yours. Yours might be better than mine, and you don't have to do this. But if you're looking and you see something that just doesn't look right to you, or maybe it's too much of one, it's completely up to you. But I went ahead and made mine slightly smaller. I'm going to dip and lift into my tan paint, and I'm going to start on the edge, and I'm going to pull toward the center, and you see how that's a curved line? I'm going to do that all the way. Now I rotated it so that my brush, let me see if you can see that, so that my brush is going to make a thin line. If it's this way, it makes a thick line. So I rotated it. I'm going to get down here, and I pretty much brought that line all the way across. Now I'm going to dip into my darker brown. Well, actually, let me show you. So I've got some darker paint on here. I'm going to wipe it. I can just use this, get a little bit more. So I'm basically going to dry brush it, except that this already has some pretty wet paint on it, so I'm not sure how dry it will stay. Okay, so that is, if you can see that brush detail, it's a little fuzzy. That's when I know it's really a dry brush. Okay. Now I've got some black, because I'm just not getting the right underneath here. I'm going to need it darker. Right around here, I'm going to need it darker. Because this is where those pieces come together. You know, the big snowballs. Now I'm going to get some white. See how this white now only has one layer. That was from earlier. Oh, hold on. You might want to wash your brush. So earlier, we just did that one coat. The second coat should make it whiter. And see how I'm brushing back into what we just did? That's going to make that look more like a shadow and not like a mistake. Whoops. So if your paint mixes, just go back over it. You can always touch up at the very end if you need to. Okay, now I noticed I kind of took away some of that darkest that I needed, because that's what shows the difference. Okay. Now, we're going to let Snowman dry. I noticed I've got some white right there. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to or not. So on this part, we use brushes, but don't be afraid of spreading paint with fingers even. That's fine. Okay. So now you can choose another brush. We're going to dip and lift in some red paint. And we are going to add our ornaments to the tree. So right down here, I'm going to add one. And red is, most of the time, red will be more of a translucent color. This one is not real translucent. So if you use it thick, get kind of a big blob, you should be able to just do one coat. If not, we'll have to come back and add another coat of red. And I'm just two ways, and then dab, dab, dab. If you have a part of a branch you don't like, well, put an ornament on it. Okay. Now I'm going to take just my dark brown and some black just to make it a little bit darker. And I'm going to make my snowman arm. So start from over here and you're just going to draw straight into your snowman. And then where you started, now you're going to turn it, you're going to go up and stop at an apple. If there's not an apple about there, well, then go ahead and paint one. Then you're going to do like a Y. So it looks like he's picking that apple. Now the other arm is reaching up straight. And it doesn't go into the white because we can't see where, it comes out the other side. Some little bitty. You might notice I don't really have an apple there, so I'm going to put one. Okay. So get some black again, just the little tip of your paintbrush. So we're going to go from the edge, and I'm just going to dot. And then get a little bit more, and this time it's going to be a dot, but you may have to drag up a little bit. So I put it down like it's a dot, and I pull up just slightly. Now notice how he's looking up. So that is why I put his eyes here to the side of the midline, why the smile comes this way. Now the nose, this is just a little trick here. You just draw your triangle. I still have the black paint on there. I'm going to take red and orange and mix it, and it's going to have that black. So it may end up a little bit brown. Well, it actually turned out, what you're seeing is really dark. So it'll give you your first layer, because this is how you're able to have that lighter area will be the area closest to the viewer, and then the farthest away part, which is the sides of that triangle, they will be slightly darker. And you didn't really have to do anything other than make a darker first layer. Okay, so I'm mixing red and yellow again. If you have an orange paint, which you might in your kit, then just use that. Now, Okay. I may have to let that dry and come back over with another layer. I'm going to add a little bit more red to my orange now, because I'm going to make it like a red orange. Over here, you see where the highlights are? Well, I can do the same thing on my apples. Just little bitty spots with this other red. And we are almost done. I'm going to dip and lift into white. Now over here, I'm going to do a little bit too, because these are shiny, but I tried to keep it on that side. Okay, let's see. Now our last part. Well, there's actually two parts. So I'm using a small brush. I'm getting some yellow. No, I already have white, so I'm going to take my white. And if you have to, make your stars like you learned in elementary school, that is fine, because we're going to paint it solid. Okay, so I have it white, and then I'm just going to take and, whoops. If your white is too thick, if it's been sitting there a while, you might have to put just a little bit of water in it. Don't push down, push out. Otherwise, those will be too thick. Now I've got some yellow. I am going to have to do a couple of coats of yellow, otherwise it's not going to show up like you want it to. So when it dries, if you want more yellow, or if there's an area that you want whiter, just add to it. Okay. Now, take it doesn't really matter which brush, but one that you haven't used, so it really is dry. Dip and lift into the brown, which is what I did. We want the snow to not look so pristine. So I am just kind of stamping. That's going to actually give it some dimension. And I'm going to stamp into my white and do the same thing right on top of it. And this will just make the ground not look so flat. Okay. Now, it's up to you if you want to add a scarf or if you want to put a hat on. You can add anything there that you think might work well. I just noticed I just wanted a little bit more. Maybe there's a little snow on the branch there. It's really dry when I do this. Okay. And I dip and lift and sign my name. Which you didn't see that, probably. See? Okay. Happy painting!